Beyond the Gate spoilers for Thursday, January 22nd hint that Bill Hamilton and Dani Dupree will share a steamy moment while Vanessa McBride lands in trouble. In fact, BTG spoilers strongly suggest that something very bad is about to happen to the blonde. So is she in danger? Or does this have to do with her escort business? Perhaps a client or an escort is unhappy with a situation that Vanessa has placed them in, which could land her in hot water, so only time will tell. Meanwhile, Vanessa's boyfriend, Joey Armstrong, will be on the January 22nd episode as he shares some intel with Elon Hawthorne. Is this related to Jacob Hawthorne's new undercover mission? In some interesting Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, it seems that two couples will take their relationships to the next level. Shanice Johnson and Ted Richardson awkwardly ran into Nicole Dupree and Dr. Carlton Fitzgerald at the country club during the January 21st episode. Shanice and Ted were going out on their first date, and while Shanice was hoping to talk to Nicole and tell her about it beforehand, Nicole got called in to deal with an emergency. Things were tense as the show closed, so will these two couples be the two couples mentioned in the spoiler? Shanice and Ted will likely do the deed, but Carlton and Nicole already have, so maybe they decide to make their relationship exclusive? Then again, Dani and Bill could cross a line. BTG fans already know that Dani and Bill will share a kiss during the Thursday, January 22nd episode, as the soap's weekly promo shows them making out in his office. But could they do more? Lastly, Hayley Hamilton will be pushed into a corner, or she'll feel as if she is. Will Tomas Navarro call her out? Out on my phone conversation he overheard the week before? Beyond the Gates spoilers imply that Hayley has been far too sloppy with her plan to off Bill and snag that life insurance money. So is Tomas the key to exposing her plan? Saying that Nicole's Winterfest date, Kial, was his understudy, Carlton says it's time for her to go out with a real leading man. Although flattered, Nicole makes it clear that she is working on herself, and that means she's not ready to settle down with one guy. And although she had a nice time with Kial and there was a spark, she's ready to continue seeing Carlton. Meanwhile, Vanessa crosses paths with Kial at the coffee shop and offers him her business card. Realtor, not escort. They bond over having lost their respective spouses. There are definitely flirtatious vibes between the pair. Naomi talks to Dr. An at the hospital, revealing in the course of their conversation that, as I suspected, she's been lying about her test results. Yes, Naomi tested positive for the BRCA gene. She's not sure how to feel about the results, let alone what to do next. The doctor refers her to a genetic counselor, and Naomi explains why she isn't ready to tell anyone, including Jacob. Of course, just then Nicole walks up, wanting to know what they're talking about. Dr. An lies on the spot, much to Naomi's relief. Ted is on the phone with Shanice, making plans for their dinner date, when Kat storms into Orphe Jean's, demanding to know why he encouraged Eva to be there to support her. Kat goes into majorly insufferable mode, insisting that even if she needed an organ, she wouldn't take one from Kat. As she compares her sister to cancer, Ted declares an end to apology season, putting Kat in her place, or at least trying to. Dana was a mistake, he says. Eva was not. She was a gift. Kat is disgusted, refusing to share his love with her sister, saying she can't even look at him. Well, baby girl, he sadly responds, that makes two of us. Kat storms on over to Nicole's office, only to have Mom side with Ted, suggesting that her daughter move on. Martin, too, suggests Kat move on. But it's Sam who manages to give the best advice, suggesting Kat try and see things from the perspective of someone who doesn't hate Eva. Ted calls Shanice back, and she suggests they go somewhere they won't run into people he knows. When Ted refuses to keep their budding relationship in a bubble, saying he wants to show her off, she agrees, but only on the condition that she first talks to Nicole so as not to blindside her co-worker/friend. But before Shanice can talk to Nicole, the doctor is called away on an emergency. That evening, Anastasia tries to insult Shanice at the country club, but Shanice rises to the challenge, giving as good as, actually probably better, she gets. Anastasia leaves in a huff, and Ted declares Shanice the evening's winner. But of course, just as they're preparing to sit down for dinner, in come Nicole and Carlton. Now seating awkward, Party of four. Noting Marcel has pep in his step and lipstick on his collar, Jacob is disgusted to realize the guy hooked up with Leslie. Marcel suggests the younger man butt out. Later, Elon needs someone to tackle a new case involving plasma being sold on the black market. Jacob immediately volunteers. While Marcel doesn't think Jacob has enough experience to handle the job, Elon agrees to give his son a chance, warning that this could have a huge impact on every aspect of his life. Tyrell tells Smitty and Martin that he wants a new tux so he can take Jessica to the cotillion. They question his change of heart, but he explains his motivations to their satisfaction. The Friday, January 23rd, spoilers for Beyond the Gates, focus on Leslie once again confronting Shanice over Ted. She has seen the writing on the wall, and she doesn't like it. In other news, Jacob begins his undercover mission. Leslie doesn't like to share. She may be having fun with Detective Marcel Malone, but that doesn't mean she has forgotten about her one-sided true love, Dr. Ted Richardson. She has designs on him, and she won't let anybody get in her way now that Nicole has bowed out of the competition. On Friday, Leslie confronts Shanice over Ted. This isn't shocking, since Shanice and Ted are actually on a date at the country club. A little flirtation at the hospital is one thing, but a fancy date that essentially serves as their official coming out as a couple? Leslie will not let that continue, so she will undoubtedly mark her territory once again. Shanice is someone who will push back, however. How heated will this confrontation get? Tracy bungled her last visit with Anita when she tried to treat her with tough love, but didn't read the room. Anita didn't want that. The weekly spoilers reveal that it's the other Articulette's turn to show her support for Anita during her cancer journey. Anita leans on Sharon, who has proven to be a real friend after a rocky restart. She even gave Vernon singing lessons so he could surprise his wife with a winning performance over the holidays. Jacob takes a big step in his career. Thanks to his ace investigating, he has a lead that could take down an organized crime ring. Instead of drugs or money, these guys deal in plasma, a $1 million industry, according to Jacob. And so Elon approves his going undercover, for what sounds like the first time. Malone has no faith in the police chief's son, but Jacob seems determined to do it. The teasers also hint at Bill buying Tomas's silence. That may mean Tomas is aware of Bill and Dani's inability to stay away from each other, and that could mean good things for Tomas, like a partnership at Bill's firm. And finally, Dani and Pamela set their sights on Isaiah, most likely for their modeling agency. We'll see if Isaiah entertains their proposition. The guy seems serious about what he wants, and right now, it's his job at Banneker and Eva. However, a modeling side hustle could prove lucrative. Will Dani and Pamela be able to win him over? Days of Our Lives, James Reynolds was recently on the soapy YouTube podcast with hosts, fellow Days co-star Greg Rickhart, and The Bold and the Beautifuls, Rebecca Budig. The three talked about a plethora of topics, including the new smash CBS soap hit, Beyond the Gates. Reynolds is the longest-running male actor on Days of Our Lives, originating the role of Abe Carver in 1981. He also appeared on the since-canceled soap, Generations, in 1991, playing a very different character than Abe, a powerful businessman, Henry Marshall. Beyond the Gates, much like Generations, features a predominantly black cast, so naturally, the three's discussion turned to BTG. Reynolds was asked about how he feels about Beyond the Gates. His response was, "I feel great about it. I think it's done several things. For one thing, it's nice to have that exposure again for black upper-middle-class family to show what the black middle class is like." Reynolds added, "Too often we don't see the black middle class. Those films or TV shows that do tend to kind of go back and forth from one experience to the other." The legendary soap actor went on to say, "As you see from Beyond the Gates, as you see from so many things, your blackness is important to your existence, no matter what." He wrapped up with, "If you're a billionaire, or, well, some billionaires. But if you're wherever you fall on that economic scale, that is the essence of your existence in this country. I think Beyond the Gates shows that in a most entertaining way, a lovely way. But could fans one day see Reynolds in the land of Fairmont Crest? That's hard to say, as Abe Carver plays a pivotal role in Salem storylines, but maybe for a guest appearance? Anything is possible in the land of daytime drama, right? How much do you love BTG? How much do you love James Reynolds on Days of Our Lives? Fans of Beyond the Gates and General Hospital have something new to cheer about. John Lindstrom's first novel, Hollywood Hustle, about a washed-up movie star teaming with a stuntman and a disgraced cop to save his kidnapped daughter, is set to become a film. Lindstrom, who plays Joey Armstrong on BTG, will also serve as an executive producer. Keep scrolling to learn more. John Lindstrom, the lead actor in BTG and General Hospital, has excited fans by revealing stellar news. His first novel, Hollywood Hustle, is getting a movie adaptation. The plot revolves around a faded film celebrity who teams up with a stuntman, and also with a disgraced cop to rescue his kidnapped daughter. And since the novel has released, fans have really praised it. Elsewhere, Lindstrom has shared that if the story ever made it to films, he imagined Kevin Bacon playing the lead, and now his possibility is moving closer to reality, and he has even acquired the production rights. Lindstrom is the author of the source article, and with that, he will also be serving as an executive producer on the adaptation. This will give him a direct hand in translating his story to film. Elsewhere, Lindstrom is excited to see his character come alive. Deadline reports that AET Entertainment has acquired the right. It's to turn Hollywood Hustle into a feature film, and Lindstrom's representatives coordinated the deal at Artist Group and Gilbertson Entertainment. Moreover, it was alongside literary agency Liza Royce Associates. They work in conjunction with the Gersh Talent Agency, and it represents AETH. Eric Woods, CEO of AETH, said, "From the opening pages, Hollywood Hustle grabs you and doesn't let go. It's a natural fit for an electrifying cinematic experience." Lindstrom plays Joey Armstrong on the show. Furthermore, he shared with Deadline that, "So much of my career has been spent in and around the film industry, and I wanted Hollywood Hustle to capture the look, and also feel of that world behind the camera that most people don't see." For more Beyond the Gates spoilers and updates, keep following Soap Opera Daily. On the January 21st, 2026 episode of Beyond the Gates, long simmering tensions come to the surface as secrets, strained relationships, and unexpected encounters reshape Fairmont Crest. Naomi's private struggle takes a serious turn when it is revealed she tests positive for the BRCA gene, a truth she actively keeps from her loved ones, even as close calls threaten to expose her. Family dynamics remain volatile as Kat confronts Ted over Eva, only to find herself increasingly isolated when both parents urge her to move forward. Romantic undercurrents add further complications. Nicole reaffirms her focus on personal growth rather than commitment. Vanessa and Kyle share a surprising connection, and Ted's budding relationship with Shanice collides with social realities at the country club. Elsewhere, professional and personal stakes rise as Jacob steps into a risky new case, while smaller moments signal shifting priorities across town. Awkward reunions, emotional revelations, and unresolved conflicts define a pivotal episode. The January 21st, 2026 episode of Beyond the Gates unfolds with secrets exposed, emotions running high, and multiple storylines colliding across Fairmont Crest. Nicole navigates her complicated love life when Carlton teasingly suggests she deserves a real leading man, dismissing her Winterfest date, Kial, as merely his understudy. Though flattered, Nicole makes it clear she is prioritizing herself and isn't ready to commit to one person. While she admits there was a spark with Kial, she chooses to continue seeing Carlton while keeping her options open. Elsewhere, Vanessa unexpectedly crosses paths with Kial at the coffee shop. The two bond over the shared experience of losing their spouses, and Vanessa offers him her business card, strictly as a realtor. Their interaction is warm and noticeably flirtatious, hinting at a potential new connection for both. At the hospital, Naomi's long-held secret is finally revealed. In a private conversation with Dr. An, she admits she tested positive for the BRCA gene and has been lying about her results. Overwhelmed and uncertain, Naomi explains she isn't ready to tell anyone, including Jacob. When Nicole unexpectedly walks up and asks what they are discussing, Dr. An quickly covers for Naomi, preserving her secret for now. Naomi is referred to both a genetic counselor and a therapist as she struggles to process what comes next. Tensions explode between Kat and Ted when Kat storms into Orphe Jean's, furious that Ted encouraged Eva to support her. Kat makes it clear she refuses to accept Eva in her life, even comparing her presence to cancer. Ted, reaching his limit, shuts down what he calls apology season, firmly declaring that while Dana was a mistake, Eva was a gift. Kat is disgusted and storms out, later confronting Nicole and finding little sympathy. Both Nicole and Martin urge her to move on, while Sam offers more measured advice, encouraging Kat to see the situation from a different perspective. Ted's personal life grows more complicated when his date with Shanice takes center stage. Shanice insists on speaking to Nicole before things progress, but an emergency prevents that conversation. At the country club, Anastasia attempts to belittle Shanice, only to be thoroughly outmatched. Ted proudly declares Shanice the winner of the exchange, just as Nicole and Carlton arrive, creating an unmistakably awkward foursome. Around Fairmont Crest, Jacob realizes Marcel has slept with Leslie and reacts with open disgust. Marcel warns him to stay out of his personal life. Soon after, Elon presents a case involving plasma being sold on the black market. Jacob eagerly volunteers, and despite Marcel's doubts, Elon gives his son a chance, warning that the case could affect every part of his life. Meanwhile, Tyrell announces he wants a new tux to take Jessica to the cotillion, explaining his change of heart to Martin and Smitty. The brownstone is chock full of family when Tyrell comes downstairs ready for a new tuxedo. Smitty and Martin question when Samantha jumps in and says it's all about Jessica and cotillion. Martin wonders if he is making up his own mind or being swayed by Jessica. Smitty says, if he commits to it, he must treat the event with respect. They all want to know why he and Jessica would attend if they hated the idea of the event so much. Tyrell admits Jessica's father is pushing her, and Samantha adds she thinks it will look good on her college education. Martin tries to engage Smitty about Tyrell, but he is busy on his phone. Martin inquires, and Smitty says he's toying around with a new story, but promises it's only another puff piece. Jacob jumps on Marcel when he arrives late to work. He immediately wonders how Marcel is dressed so sharp. Further, he notices the lipstick on his collar and can't believe his ex-partner actually hooked up with Leslie Thomas. Marcel says the police didn't prove Leslie anything but innocent and suggests he tend to his own wife before meddling in his business. Elon walks up and asks Jacob where they are on the tip he got. Marcel questions the situation, and Jacob says, while Marcel was getting busy with Leslie, he was making waves on the department's latest case. Elon informs Marcel that Jacob has a lead on an organized crime ring that has infiltrated the area. He gets more details, and Marcel is stunned they are now chasing vampires in the form of a black market plasma ring. Jacob says it's a billion-dollar industry, and Marcel talks about going undercover. Jacob pipes up, saying his dad already has the right man for the job, him. They all get heated when Jacob asks to be given a chance. Marcel thinks he is a shoo-in, but Elon says he is putting his son in. Jacob is excited, but Elon says he needs to think about what this assignment might cost him, as it's 24/7, and could cost him everything. Carlton arrives at Nicole's office with a gift of theater tickets. She quickly realizes this whole thing is about Kial. Carlton would like to show he what it's like to spend the evening with a real leading man. Nicole rightfully thinks Carlton is jealous, and he admits to it, but says he has waited too long to lose his chance with her. Nicole says she is exploring her life and what works for her, but that doesn't necessarily equate to monogamy. Carlton gets it and asks if she is feeling Kial. Nicole admits going out with someone who had no knowledge of her marriage was refreshing and notes the chemistry. That being said, there is a connection and history with Carlton, which differs from Kial. Before they can kiss, Kat storms in saying her mother needs to school her ex-husband on how he can and can't speak to her. Carlton decides to exit and kisses Nicole before heading out. Nicole asks Kat for details about her fatherly encounter. Kat simplifies everything, saying her dad is taking Eva's side when the entire family is dealing with cancer. Nicole simply says Ted is right without further explanation. She tells Kat to stop holding on to all her resentment and refuses to let her daughter dim her own light. Naomi arrives at the nurse's station and Shanice immediately engages. Just then, Anita's doctor walks up and Naomi asks if she has a minute to chat. With that, they sit. Afterwards, Shanice gets a call from Ted, who is hanging at Orphe Jeans. He says the restaurant they were planning to go to is closed. He suggests they go to the country club, which freaks out Shanice as it's the home club of the Duprees. Ted says they are just like everyone, but Shanice thinks they'll run into Nicole, which doesn't thrill her. Ted sweet-talks Shanice, who eventually relents. Naomi and the good doctor take a seat where she admits she tested positive for the BRCA gene. She says she is having a hard time wrapping her head about what to do. The good doctor offers up some facts and refers her to a solid genetics counselor and a social worker. Just then, Naomi gets a text from Jacob as he needs some support. The doctor won't tell Naomi what to do, but thinks Naomi should consider at least telling one member of her family. Naomi goes through all the people she could possibly tell, but is unwilling to reveal to anyone. Just then, Nicole walks up and is thrilled to see her niece. The good doctor covers for Naomi, saying she was picking her brain about a case. Naomi quickly makes excuses and exits. Shanice walks up, hoping to tell Nicole about her upcoming date with Ted. Just then, Nicole gets a call about a case in the ER. Shanice tells her to go and take care of business, but is clearly upset she didn't get to clear the air. Kat walks into Orphe Jeans, and Ted hangs up with Shanice. She is in no mood as she immediately asks why her father brought her half-sister's trifling behind all up into her family business. Ted says Kat and Eva may eventually need each other, but she isn't buying the family BS he's selling. Kat says Eva is Ted's spawn and is as cancerous as the gene that has her own family in its grip. Ted says he is done apologizing. He has tried reason and done everything he can to make up for the hurt he has caused. He will not live with his head down forever. Ted says Kat is grown and needs to act like it. Eva is a gift just like Kat and Martin. Kat can't believe he loves Eva the same as her. The love her father has belongs to her and Martin, not to Eva. Kat can't look at her father, and Ted says he feels the same way. With that, she exits. Carlton arrives and sits down with Ted. They try to shoot the she, but can't quite get beyond the Nicole of it all. Ted says not wanting to punch Carlton is a nice bit of progress. They chat a bit more before Ted says he has a date, which leads them to talking about Nicole and the Kial of it all. Ted says he seems like a good guy, and they have a bit of a laugh poking fun at Kael. Later, Ted arrives at the country club to find a very gussied-up Shanice. She says she tried to speak with Nicole, but didn't have the chance. Shanice is freaking out about the venue, but Ted says he just wants to take all of her in. Just then, Anastasia walks up to make light of Ted, trading in his Dupree thoroughbred for an untamed Mustang. Shanice is having none of it, asking Antiques Roadshow if she was just compared to a wild horse. Ted almost gets tickled as Shanice reads the club gossip for filth. After the old nag storms off, Ted and Shanice have a good laugh. Ted thinks Shanice can handle herself in any room. Before they can sit down, Nicole and Carlton walk in. Nicole realizes what Shanice wanted to talk to her about. Later, Kat arrives at the brownstone to see her brother. He immediately notes her mood and assumes it's about Eva. He questions her a bit, and Kat says she is exhausted with herself. Martin gets all kinds of snarky, leading to a bit of a pillow fight. Just then, Samantha walks downstairs, and Kat says she is actually there to deliver Deb lessons. They chat a bit, which leads to Samantha trying to help Kat get beyond the Eva of it all. Just then, Smitty gets a call and quickly exits. Beyond the gates, spoilers for Wednesday, January 21st, indicate that Vanessa McBride will proposition Dr. Kyle Rollins, while Ted Richardson gets firm with Catherine Cat Richardson. BTG's Wednesday episode promises to offer some bombshells and shockers, so let's unpack all the drama fans should expect to see. First off, what exactly does Vanessa propose to Kial? It sounds like the two will run into each other, so will she try to push Kial in Nicole Dupree's direction? After all, Nicole doesn't want anything serious and loves the little flirtation they have together, so Vanessa may feel it's her duty to help give Kial some tips on how to romance her bestie. Then again, maybe she presents an opportunity for Kial to work for her escort service? It sounds ridiculous, but this is Vanessa, so anything is possible. Still, as Kial is a doctor, will he even entertain the idea? Across town, Naomi Hawthorne will settle into her new normal. As fans sense, Naomi likely does have the BRCA gene and lied to her family about her test results. How long can she go on keeping this secret? Speaking of Naomi, her hubby, Jacob Hawthorne will struggle as he tries to keep the peace between Elon Hawthorne and Marcel Malone. The two will have a major clash, so what could this be about? In other news, Beyond the Gates spoilers for January 21st hint that Tyrell Richardson will catch Bradley Smitty Smith and Martin Richardson off guard when he changes his tune on an issue. Tyrell was adamant about skipping the cotillion, but now wants to go as he's been asked by Jessica to be her +1. On the one hand, the event is a beloved tradition for the Duprees, so this is good news, but that doesn't mean Martin and Smitty won't be skeptical about Tyrell's change of heart. Finally, Kat and Ted will fight during BTG's Wednesday show, and their heated conversation will center around Eva Thomas. Ted had asked Eva to check in on Kat last week, despite their shaky sisterly relationship. Kat was not only dealing with her grandmother's breast cancer diagnosis, but also her family being tested for the BRCA gene, so Ted thought it would be nice if Eva offered Kat some support. Still, when Eva did so, Kat lashed out at her half-sister, and the two ladies got into a fight. It sounds like Ted confronts Kat about this, and while she'll stand her ground, he won't have a problem countering back. Is Kat being a brat where Eva's concerned? Should she let her negative feelings go to try to build a bond with Eva? Beyond the Gates spoilers suggest that Ted was shown in this week's preview, telling Kat that apology season is over. He's ready to move on, but will she feel the same? Here's what's coming up on Beyond the Gates for Friday, January 23rd, 2026. Ashley confronts Derek, while Leslie confronts Shanice, and that's not all. Read on as soap opera news breaks down the day's events for you. Leslie may be getting cozy with Marcel these days, but it's clear she's still not over her teddy-weddy. She knows Shanice and Ted have something going on, and she is definitely not thrilled about it. And if we know anything about Leslie, it's that she says exactly what's on her mind. Shanice isn't much different. So, when Leslie confronts her about Ted, is it safe to expect fireworks? All signs point to yes. Meanwhile, Bill buys Tomas's silence. The big question is why. Did Tomas catch Bill and Dani in a compromising moment? Sharing a kiss in the office isn't exactly the smartest move. Still, no one saw that coming. Bill's kind words clearly struck a nerve, and Dani leaned in for the kiss. Elsewhere in Fairmont Crest, Anita leans on Sharon. Anita has been carrying a heavy load lately, and while she's handling it with strength, even the strongest people need support. Sharon steps in at just the right time to be there for her friend. Beyond the Gates spoilers for January 23rd also tease that Dani and Pamela set their sights on Isaiah. Could this have something to do with modeling? Plus, Ashley calls Derek out on his sabotage, and Jacob officially begins his undercover mission. That's all for Beyond the Gates spoilers for January 23rd, 2026. Which storyline are you most excited about? Share your thoughts in the comments and check back tomorrow for more drama and surprises. Get the weekly BTG spoilers. Beyond the Gates airs weekdays on CBS. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Spotlight emotional vulnerability, rising tension, and escalating danger across Fairmont Crest. Dani finds herself under immense pressure as she navigates her mother's illness and her own BRCA diagnosis, prompting her to lean on a familiar source of comfort. With Andre out of town, Dani turns to Bill, and their emotional exchange leads to a surprising move that could have lasting consequences. Meanwhile, Haley feels increasingly boxed in as Bill's attention drifts and her own carefully laid plans face potential disruption. As suspicion and pressure mount, Haley is forced to confront an unexpected challenge at a critical moment. Dani is dealing with intense emotional strain. Her mother's cancer diagnosis continues to weigh heavily on her. She is also processing the reality of carrying the BRCA gene. Although she believes her daughters are unaffected, uncertainty lingers. With Andre out of town for work, Dani turns to Bill for support. She opens up to her ex-husband and allows herself to be vulnerable. Their conversation is deeply personal and emotionally charged. Spoilers indicate that this moment leads to a surprising move by Dani. The interaction crosses beyond words and shifts their dynamic. This development raises questions about boundaries and consequences, especially given Bill's current marriage. Haley is growing increasingly frustrated and uneasy. She notices Bill's continued focus on Dani and feels pushed into a corner. Her long-term plan depends on maintaining control of the situation. Losing Bill's attention could jeopardize everything she's working toward. At the same time, pressure from others continues to mount. Someone confronts Haley at an especially bad moment, forcing her to react instead of manipulate. Her patience is tested as her plan moves more slowly than expected. The situation leaves Haley exposed and unsettled. This confrontation threatens to disrupt her carefully constructed strategy. Vanessa finds herself in a dangerous situation. A previously introduced problem resurfaces and escalates. The angry husband, connected to her escort service, appears to be more than an empty threat. On Thursday, Vanessa is accosted, placing her personal safety at risk. The encounter highlights the dangers tied to her business and past decisions. While she is not without powerful connections, the immediate situation is serious. The threat adds tension to her storyline and raises concerns about how far this conflict might go. The fallout could extend beyond Vanessa alone. Joey reconnects with Elon under serious circumstances. Their conversation centers on the information Joey has gathered. This intel is described as much needed and potentially impactful. It may be connected to Joey's recent efforts involving Leslie. The exchange strengthens their alliance and advances an ongoing investigation. While details remain limited, the meeting signals movement on a stalled front. Joey's involvement continues to blur personal and professional lines. The information he shares could influence future power dynamics and decisions within the broader circle. By the end of the night, two couples move forward in their relationships. The step is significant enough to draw attention and speculation. This development contrasts with the instability seen elsewhere in Fairmont Crest. While spoilers do not reveal which couples are involved, the progression suggests commitment or change. These moments add emotional balance to an otherwise tense episode. The relationship shifts may also intersect with existing conflicts. As personal choices are made, their ripple effects are likely to be felt in upcoming episodes. Wednesday, January 21st, 2025. In today's BTG episode, Carlton makes a date plan with Nicole. Ted asks Shanice to the club, and Jacob has a new assignment. Read the last BTG recap. Joey blackmailed Leslie, Vanessa was threatened by a client's husband, and Chelsea accepted drugs from an old friend. At home, Tyrell tells his dads he needs a new tux because he's so swole. His sister guesses this is because he's going to be arm candy for Jessica. Tyrell insists he's doing what he wants. They tell him he can't protest the cotillion at the cotillion. Samantha explains that it is already on Jessica's UCLA submission. She makes it clear that this is her first step in living up to the family legacy. Left alone, the two dads chat, but Smitty is distracted by a story idea. Marcel shows up for work, and Jacob complains about him being late and missing the video they had to watch. Jacob is surprised to see him in an expensive shirt that has lipstick on the collar. He assumes he was with Leslie. Marcel reminds him he's never pinned anything on Leslie. He suggests he get some from his wife and stop being so damn wound up. Elon joins them, and they tell Marcel that Jacob has a lead about an illegal plasma syndicate. Jacob brags that he's been picked to go undercover. Marcel says they better measure him for a body bag, but Jacob is determined. Elon insists his son gets the job, but warns him of what it may cost him. Going undercover will mean pulling away from his family. Shanice thinks of Ted. He calls and tells her that Obelisk is closed for a private party, so they will have to go somewhere else. Ted offers to take her to the club. She's intimidated. He assures her it's no Camelot, and he can bring whoever he wants. He gets off the phone when Kat shows up at his table in Orphe jeans. She starts complaining about him sharing her gene news with her sister. "The one person you cannot burst with is Eva," she says. She'd refuse an organ from his spare heir if she needed one. They argue about genetics, and she compares Eva to cancer. Ted says temper tantrums aren't cute. She reminds him he slept with a psycho. He declares apology season over. Ted has tried to own his wrongs, but he can't lower his head for the rest of his life. Dana was a mistake, but Eva is a gift. Just like Martin and Kat. She says he couldn't have said anything more hurtful to her. He's known her his whole life and known Eva for a minute. Ted has love for all his children and can't choose one over the other. She can't look at him and walks out. He calls Shanice back and tells her he wants to show her off to everyone. She agrees to that, but wants to give Nicole a heads up. Carlton drops by Nicole's office with tickets for their upcoming date. He goes on about seeing Hamilton and offers to show her what it's like to spend the night with a real leading man. He's big on grand gestures and wants to erase her memories of Kial. He's waited too long to miss out of his chance with her. She tells him he's made the dating pool more than fine. She's owning her life, and that doesn't automatically equal monogamy. Nicole just got out of a bad place and needs them to be honest. He wouldn't have it any other way and can understand her wanting to see other people. There was a spark with Kial, but she feels a connection with Carlton. He promises he has attributes to show her. Kat bursts in to vent about her dad. Her mom reminds her to knock next time, and Carlton takes off. Kat is miffed when her mom sides with Ted. She urges her to stop letting resentment eat her up. She complains Eva gets to be a sensitive gangster, but she doesn't. Her mom advises her to bask in what she has for her own sake. Kat doesn't know how to stop hating Eva. She didn't get the forgiving gene, but the revenge one. Naomi drops by the hospital and talks to her mom's doctor. They sit to talk about her testing positive for the gene. They go over how the gene raises the risks, but doesn't necessarily mean cancer. Naomi gets a referral to a genetics counselor and a social worker. Jacob texts to complain he's having a day. She ignores it and tells the doctor she doesn't have energy to be a mom to her mom or turn her husband after their recent quake. Nicole bustles over and asks what they had their heads together about. They cover and runs off. Shanice corners Nicole, but she gets called away to deal with self-harm in the ER. Carlton joins Ted at Orphe Jeans, and they talk about how hard it will be to slip back into IPA nights when he's dating his wife. Ted says they have progress since he doesn't want to punch him. They chat about Kial, and Ted makes a crack about how he spells his name. Kat heads to Martin's to complain about her mom backing her dad up. She keeps having the same conversation every day. As they joke around, Samantha shows up, and Kat starts giving her Deb lessons.